And LeBron James obviously was in the middle of all that. He nearly matched Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan in scoring in Game 2 while rebounding and playmaking them single-handedly. The numbers are just crazy. And for Raptors head coach Dwayne Casey, Game 3 comes down to a single intangible factor.
We're professional players. It's a 7-game series. We can feel sorry for ourselves if we want to, and I don't think our guys are going to. We know what we didn't do and have to do better. And again, we know it's tough. It's not going to be easy. But yet and still, we have the toughness and grit, and we've done it all year. I don't think we've lost 3 games in a row all year. I'm not sure. But, you know, that's what we're made out of, and that's what we got to depend on.
We're going to have to do a better job stopping the Cavaliers. If LeBron continues to shoot like that, maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know who's on the floor, who's not on the floor for Toronto, because that was just nuts. But for Toronto, they got to figure some things out. One of those things is how much to play Serge Ibaka, who was obviously, let's say, ineffective in Game 2.
Well, he would be, when they go small, their best 5-man. But he hasn't played very well, offensively or defensively. You know, and that, I mean, when you get the ball that deep in the post and you can't make a 3-footer, then, you know, something's wrong. And I think that's why Kevin Love has been more effective, because Ibaka should be on him, but he's not.
0 of 5, 2 points, 6 boards in Game 2. They just couldn't keep him on the floor, Brendan.
Yeah, I think Serge, he's kind of suffering from what I like to call an identity crisis. As he's been able to score the ball more and shoot the 3-point shot, he's drifted farther and farther away from the basket. Coach, we talked off air. What used to make Serge Ibaka great? He was known as Serge Ibaka. He was the guy that dominated the paint. He blocked shots. He rebounded. We're not seeing that type of Serge anymore. As he's focused more on offense, it's taken away from his defense, and that's what made him truly special. He's suffering from an identity crisis. Serge has to look in the mirror, understand what makes him great, what's going to help this Toronto basketball team, and how he gets back to that. He has to somehow turn back into Serge Ibaka, start blocking shots, running the court, dominating with defense and energy, because right now he's not giving his team that, and they sorely need it. They need Serge to be that 5-man that can play Kevin Love but then still switch out on the perimeter. This team is screaming for Serge Ibaka's skill set. Toronto's going to need that.
He's not their only problem. The bench, which was seen as an advantage in this series for good reason, they were the best bench in the regular season for sure, also hasn't been very productive relative to their Cleveland counterparts. So there's a lot of blame to go around here, Coach.
Oh, no question about it. And with their bench guys not playing so well, that puts pressure to leave your starters in the game and not play those guys as long. And when you do that, now you go back to playing the way you played before you started using the bench, and that's ISO, 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 and you can't win against Cleveland playing that way.
Yeah, the bench definitely hasn't been quite as productive in this series, and I think that's hurt Toronto a lot because they've depended on this bench. In the fourth quarter, you know, Van Vliet, Wright, that guard tandem has helped build leads and basically build them up when guys like DeRozan and Kyle Lowry have been out. The bench hasn't had it. Hasn't been quite as effective. This team depended on that bench, and just like Coach said, now that the bench isn't effective, they're going back to that old-school Toronto Raptors basketball, isolating, relying way too much on DeMar and Kyle Lowry, and that's not basically a recipe for success against this Cleveland ball club.
We got to get to break, but quickly, psychology here. Like, you know what the history of this series, these two teams, what they've been through the last 3 years. What should be said in the Raptors locker room before this game?
It's about pride. It's about pride. Right about now, if I'm DeMar and I'm the leader of this team, I'm challenging everybody to play their best basketball game, not give up. We're not getting swept. We're going to go out there and give Cleveland all they can handle. It's about pride. For far too long, Cleveland has felt they could beat us and step on our throats anytime they wanted to. We have to stand up right now.
Well, they have to get a win. You know, you can't break a block of ice until you get the first chip, and the first chip is that win. They have to do whatever they can do to get that win, because if they don't get a win, obviously it's going to be a sweep if they don't get a win tonight.